What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today.
Hey guys, Jonathan here, and I was very fortunate to attend the red carpet premiere of Ant-Man and the Wasp QUANTUMANIA, which means I can finally give you my review of the movie. Now, as we start off here, I'm going to do non-spoilers first, and I'll let you know when I get into spoilers, so if you want to jump from the video at that point, you certainly can. But big shout out to my friend Brandon Davis of comicbook.com for taking me to the premiere. It was an absolute blast. I got to meet Kevin Feige. I got to meet Peyton Reed, the director of the movie. And all in all, it was a really awesome time. I actually made a video on that you could check out if you want to see the full experience. But let's get into the movie review. So, I think that this is going to be a pretty divisive movie, meaning I think some people are really going to love it and some people aren't going to love it so much. I have to be completely real. I've been processing the movie for several days now, and I honestly need to see it a second time to make my full opinion, but I think just the fact that that's where my head is at tells you that it is divisive. I mean, I'm a diehard Ant-Man fan. I love the first two movies so much, and I'm not saying that I don't love this movie, but I am saying that I think I need a little bit more time to fall in love with it if I'm going to. So that's a pretty non-spoilery way of looking at it. Some of the things that I think are a little bit off about the movie are the pacing. The pacing is a little bit sporadic at some points. Like the beginning of the movie is breakneck. Then they get in the quantum realm and things really kind of settle in a little bit. And then it builds and builds and builds. We get this big final battle at the end, which isn't a spoiler. Every Marvel movie is like that. And then the tone of the ending of the movie is very off to me. And we'll get to that in the spoiler section. But that's about all I can say without getting into spoilers. Is I think a lot of people are going to love it. I think a lot of people are not going to love it. I also haven't mentioned yet that it's very much like Star Wars. It's very space opera-like and very sci-fi compared to anything Marvel has done, so it's kind of in its own corner in that respect. So again, some people are going to love that, some people aren't going to love it, but I don't know. When I walk out of a Marvel movie, usually I can say right away if I love it or hate it. Like, for example, Love and Thunder had me feeling this way, but like the next day I started to really think about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not sure that I like this movie as much as I thought I did. And now, months later, I think Love and Thunder was actually kind of trash. But with this movie, here I am several days later, and I still can't decide how I feel about it, which that tells me that I don't love the movie, right? Like, when I walked out of Endgame, it was all I could think about for weeks. But with this movie, I'm just struggling. I mean, I don't hate it, because if I hated it, I would know, like, when I walked out of Eternals. But I don't love it in the way that, like, I feel when I was walking out of either of the first two Ant-Man movies or Endgame or Infinity War. I just think that this movie is so different that it's that much to process. So that's all I can say without getting into spoilers. So from this point forward, we're in spoiler territory. Okay, so the character of Ant-Man in this movie, of course, he's our titular character. I think that they handled him really, really well, but I would have liked to see a little bit more depth. You know, it's no secret based on the trailers that the Ant family gets stuck in the quantum realm because of a device that Cassie creates that sucks them into the quantum realm and they can't get home. And Scott has this big emphasis on, we have to get home, we have to get home. And, of course, you know, I understand that he doesn't want to be stuck in the quantum realm, but there isn't some, like, big reason why he wants to get home. I think that narratively it could have been a little bit stronger if, you know, at the beginning of the movie, for example, we see that Scott has a book out and he's kind of got a little bit of celebrity about him now. What if there was like some big coronation, like he was going to be named the Avenger of the Decade, or, you know, they were going to give him the key to San Francisco, and so he's like, we have to get back, we have to get back, and then Cassie could be like, yeah, we have to get back because you want to get back and be celebrated. And, you know, maybe Ant-Man's story in the movie could have been being humbled a little bit, you know? I think that that could have been interesting, and I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. I understand that the character wants to get home for obvious reasons, but I think that they could have added a little bit of layering and depth in there that could have made it slightly better and made us race against the clock a little bit more. Now, with Wasp, unfortunately, and by Wasp I of course mean Hope Van Dyne, I feel like they didn't give her enough to do in this movie. You know, she's with Hank and Janet kind of in their own camp because they got separated when they landed in the quantum realm, and I like that she gets to have an adventure with her parents, especially after, you know, all this time since 2015, since we've known the characters, we haven't really gotten to see her interact with her mom much, so this time we do, and I really, really like that. But I feel like Wasp had nowhere near as much to do as Ant-Man. I feel like her character didn't grow very much, although size, yeah, she shrank and grew, haha. But I think that there could have been a lot more they could have done interesting with her. We see that she runs Van Dyne Pym Technologies now. Maybe she had a business deal, maybe she had just uncovered that, AIM was back and they've infiltrated the company and now she's stuck in the quantum realm, so she has to get back. There could have been like a undertone theme in this movie that the importance of family and sticking together is more important than, being celebrated like I suggested with Ant-Man, or the business of Hope or whatever. It could be a million different things that Hope and Scott could have wanted to get home for, other than just the fact that they didn't want to be in the quantum realm, that I think could have helped strengthen the movie a little bit. Now, we do spend a lot of time with the Ant family, Hank, Janet, and Cassie, and I actually think that all of them were very well characterized. I really enjoyed getting to know Hank and Janet and their relationship a little bit better, and of course, Cassie was played by Katherine Newton in her MCU debut, the third actress to play Cassie, interestingly enough, and I think she did an excellent job. So, we talked about the pacing. The beginning of the movie has the family, out and about in their daily lives. Scott's kind of being recognized and celebrated everywhere he goes. He's got this book, but that only lasts for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It might even be less than that, if I'm being honest. It's hard to say, but it goes really quick, and then all of a sudden they're in the quantum realm and they can hit their chest and their suits just appear out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, where did that technology come from? And how can they breathe in the quantum realm without their masks on and things like that? It's like, I don't know. It's just this very odd thing to me that, like, they just get right into the action. And then I understand that the movie has to get on and has to happen, but at the same time, I just wish that there was a little bit more build-up. Like, the first Ant-Man movie has a really, really solid pace to it. The second one does move pretty quick, but it's kind of, like, quick in a fun way. But this movie moves very, very quickly. And then, interestingly enough, it kind of tapers off in the middle, and then it really crescendos up for that final battle. And then, of course, we have the ending, but we're going to talk about that in just a second, because I want to talk about Kang next. So, this movie was hyped up because of Kang the Conqueror making his debut. Yes, we got He Who Remains in Loki, but this is the Kang. In fact, we don't even see him until about halfway through the movie, so when he does appear, his presence is definitely felt, and I love how Jonathan Majors is able to play the character completely straight. Scott tries to land some jokes on him, like about being compared with Thor and things like that, and he's just unmoved. I love that this Kang is a man on a mission. He's here for one reason. He was banished by the Council of Kangs, and he's got one MO. He's got to get out of the quantum realm so that he can continue conquering the multiverse. And I think that is articulated really, really well, and Majors plays it so great. But, again, I think that there could have been a little bit more depth. Now, I get that there may be some people watching this review that's like, oh, you just wanted more references and cameos, but let me explain my point here. So Kang talks about how he's killed all the other Avengers countless times, and he's conquered the multiverse. I think it would have actually been pretty cool to see that instead of him just tell us it. So maybe as he's telling us, we see like a flashback, and, you could have had an Iron Man suit. No need to have Robert Downey Jr. in the movie, but have an Iron Man suit, and, Kang, like, is holding Iron Man by the helmet and, like, punches through him or something. The action doesn't really matter. You could show Thor from behind, so you don't even have to bring Hemsworth in. Have Kang decapitate him. Show us some crazy scenes of Kang actually killing the Avengers so we can see what he's capable of, rather than just tell us. There's an old narrative in screenwriting about show, don't tell. And, Marvel movies do tend to be kind of exposition dumps. And, this kind of was an exposition dump in and of itself. But I think it could have been played so well if they had actually shown you Kang killing these Avengers. And, of course, it would have been super exciting to, see those references. I'm not going to pretend like that wouldn't get me excited, but I think it actually really could have worked in this context. So then that brings us to the ending. This is what I think is going to be really divisive, because the marketing is building up Kang. The start of a new dynasty was all over different trailers, and then they end up defeating Kang, so it seems, unless you see the body, whatever. But he gets, like, sucked into his quantum battery, and he just disappears. So I don't know if I really like the idea that Ant-Man and the Wasp alone were able to overpower Kang. Granted, the battle fighting him was absolutely epic, and, seeing Scott yell out, Kang, and, the helmet getting destroyed and everything, it was a super, super epic battle, but I don't like that they sort of figured out a way to defeat him. If Ant-Man and the Wasp alone are able to depower Kang and get him sucked into a battery, what are they going to need all of the other Avengers for when the time comes? Now, that being said, if this Kang that we saw in this movie isn't the Kang that the Avengers fight in Kang Dynasty, then that's fine, but the marketing is leading us to believe that this Kang is the start of a new dynasty, and so on and so on and so on. Now, one other thing I want to point out is the ending of the movie. The ending of the movie actually mirrors the beginning of the movie, where Scott's walking around the city, he's going to all these places and he's getting recognized, and he's kind of has this internal monologue of, we did beat Kang, right? Like, we did destroy him, and he's kind of questioning it, and then we cut to the credits. And that's all well and good, but I've done some detective work. There were reshoots that happened for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania in January, just weeks before the movie came out, and in those shoots, Scott Lang is walking around the city carrying a Baskin-Robbins cake box, which we see in the finale of this movie. So I think that this movie had an alternate ending that they reshot at the last minute, and that's the ending that we see in the movie now. Now, a script did leak a couple weeks ago. I did not read the script leak, but I did read some notes around it that said the movie was supposed to end with Ant-Man and the Wasp stuck in the quantum realm. And if you watch the movie, you can see how the movie could have ended on that note. I think my tinfoil hat theory, or maybe my Ant-Man helmet put it on theory, is that was the original ending, and test audiences didn't like it for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't get to see that ending, so I don't know if I would have liked it or not. But I think that test audiences didn't like it, so maybe they went back, added a more lighthearted way to end the movie. Ant-Man family sitting around the table, Scott's questioning things, leaves the door open for Kang to come back without closing it entirely, and that's where it leaves off. So I think that maybe is what happened, and I think that some people are going to think, oh yeah, the ending was great because, the family got together, they got out of the quantum realm, they're all together now, blah, 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 and they defeated Kang. But other people are going to be like, man, Kang was built up to be this big bad, and Ant-Man and Wasp by themselves defeated him. Why are they going to need all the other Avengers to defeat Kang? So I think that's why it's going to be divisive. I couldn't say that in the non-spoiler section, but I can say it now. So that's kind of my thought there. But overall, I really did enjoy the movie. There are movies I've gone to that I did not enjoy at all. I've gotten up and walked out. I did enjoy Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. The humor lands for me. The visuals knocked me out. I haven't even talked about MODOK. MODOK played very, very well. I think it was genius to have, Corey Stoll come back and play him as, like, the deformed version of Yellow Jacket, where all his limbs got shortened and his head got bigger. I think that was pretty clever. But the CGI on his face just felt really wide and flat. I'm sure you guys will talk about it in the comments down below once you've seen the movie, but that was definitely a little jarring for me. But yeah, in coming to a close, I definitely recommend seeing the movie. It is one of the better post-Endgame Marvel movies. In fact, if I had to rank them all, Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite Marvel movie overall, but just the post-Endgame movies, I would say that this is right up there with Shang-Chi with the best of the best so far. So again, I just think it's going to be a little divisive. I literally can't wait for everybody to see this movie and talk about it. Once you've seen it, come on back to this video and leave your comments so we can talk about it here. And thanks for checking out the review. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to talk about this movie. And stay tuned for my custom LEGO minifigure showcase, where I'll be building all the figures from the movie coming very soon. I'll catch you guys later, and until next time, build on. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.